I'm in the ghetto. Ratatata, ratatata, ratatata. Gosh, sorry. I forgot. I forgot. Not me coming to talk to you about ghetto with my missing fingernail. Sorry guys, but the nail salon is actually closed, so I can't go do my nails. So you have to bear with me in this episode. Welcome back to Shae Gone Foreign. I am Shae, of course. If you like this episode, like, subscribe, and share. So I saw this tweet on Twitter the other day, and it was like these really, really aesthetically pleasing pictures of Paris. And the tweet was, dates in Paris, and they put the more than sign, which indicates that it's better than anywhere else. So someone quote tweeted that, and they said, oh, these pics are deceiving, Paris is ghetto. And then when I looked through the replies, everybody was saying, yo, France is ghetto, Paris is ghetto, Europe is ghetto. No, the thing is, I partially agree. I kind of low-key agree. No, I mean, what do we even class as ghetto? When we think of ghetto, we think, high crime rates, high minority groups, low infrastructure, homelessness. And I think you can find all these things in any major city in the world, whether it's London, Berlin, New York, any major city. I mean, they're obviously going to be segregated classes. So yes, so we're going to address this topic today. I'm going to share some shocking truths, because I remember when I told my friends I was moving to Paris, they're like, oh, that's so exciting, you're moving to Paris, it's such a big city. And I was like, I like Paris, but there's so many nicer cities, and, coming from a small city like Lille and Rouen, which is smaller, it's kind of different and it's a bit more, I don't know, intimidating. So yeah, so we're going to address this now and for all, so stay tuned. So there's this thing called Paris syndrome. I don't know if you guys know about it, but it's basically where you visit Paris and it doesn't live up to your expectations and you're very underwhelmed because, you would have Googled and you saw specific pictures and it doesn't look like that when you visit. And of course, come see me, live with me are two different things. Visiting Paris for 5 days and living in Paris for a year or 6 months is a completely different experience. You don't have to deal with grocery shopping, apartment hunting, things like that. So yes, you'll see things like this. But be prepared to also see things like this. So, shocking truth number one, Paris is dirty, and now from the metro to the street, everything in between, yes, there is a lot of it, but I think, now you won't see, no, don't get me wrong, you're not going to see garbage on the streets and things like that, but generally, in comparison, I think to other cities in France as well as to other cities in Europe, I think Paris is it's not the cleanest city that I've been to. And I would say as well that there is a scent. I can't explain the scent, but yeah, there is a scent, and that's it. Just so yes, there's a scent. I don't know where the scent comes from, but there's a scent, and yeah. So that is the shocking truth number one. You probably heard about it before, but yes, I confirm that Paris is dirty. So shocking truth number two, there are lots of scamming and pickpockets. Now, in any major tourist city, you're gonna have this, but I think there's a higher rate of it in Paris than in any other city. Prime example, there are a lot of pickpockets happening on public transportation. A lot. I've seen it with my own two eyes. There are a lot of scamming. Just the other day when I went to Montmartre, that's by the Sacre-Cœur, and there were these guys and they had like a string, and how it works is that if you're just standing near to them and you're just minding your business, they tie the string onto your hand and you have to pay them to get it off. So yes, there's a lot of scamming, and they're very, very strategic with it. Even there's a guy in my area where I live, And he's always like, you know, he needs change. So he's like, oh, I need change. I need 50 cents to buy something because he doesn't have enough change. And he tells that to every person. So every person gives him 50 cents, right? But I kind of catch on to him already. The first time my friend gave him 50 cents, but I realized it was a norm, you know, so they beg very strategically here. But yes, so there's a lot of scams. There's a lot of pickpockets. I mean, I myself was even a low-key victim of pickpocketing. I would have said that in a previous episode where someone tried to take my phone. So yes, so there are a lot. You have to be careful because it exists and it's a very, very high rate. And again, it's very, very strategic, especially, and it's high around the tourist areas. So, you know, the Eiffel Tower, the Sacré-Cœur, what is another tourist area? The Louvre, all these places, it's very, very high there. So you have to be careful. I mean, this is kind of expected, but shocking truth number 3, there's a high homeless rate. And I mean, obviously this is the case because France is known to have a high influx of asylum seekers and migrants. I mean, you see them a lot of places, and all, like, even on the major avenue, the Champs-Élysées, you see them there. So yes, there's a high homeless rate. I mean, just yesterday, I mean, it's not your average homeless people, because just yesterday I saw a homeless guy. He was on the phone chilling. I was like, okay, cool. But yes, you know, it's a serious issue, and I think France is trying to deal with it with social housing and things like that. But yes, it exists and it's very high, especially in Paris. I mean, this is not even a shocking truth because we all know this, but yes, Paris is very expensive, which makes it ghetto as hell. You know, after living in cheaper cities like Lille and Rouen, and then I come here and I see the price of accommodation. Like a 1-bedroom is the price of a 3-bedroom house in Trinidad. You know, that's how expensive it is. And a while back when I was searching for apartments, I saw this apartment for rent. And it was like 13 or 1400 euros. And I was like, imagine paying 13 or 1400 euros a month. And you can't even have sex good on your own bed. That don't even make no sense to me. You know, yeah. So yes, I think Paris is very expensive. I think it's one of the most expensive. I mean, data has it that it is one of the most expensive cities, but accommodation, take the cake. Accommodation is very, very expensive, and it's very competitive. Very, very hard for you to find somewhere to live. I can attest. Truth number 5, y'all, at any moment you could see a protest. You could be here for 5 days. I'm guaranteeing you, one out of those days there will be a protest. And I'm not talking about regular protests. I'm talking about protests like this. And they burning shit down. They breaking into stores. I mean, when first time I visited, there were 2 protests happening. It was the yellow vest and something else. So yes, so there's a possibility of seeing a protest and seeing the true French behavior. So yeah. Now, I'm not saying to go pay a part. I mean, you can stand and watch, but just be careful, of course, because you never know what could happen. I mean, they overturn cars, they catch cars on fire. When they protest, you know. So, and I mean, like a while back I said how I feel about French protests. So yes, at any given moment you can see a protest. This is not your regular protest. This is riots, literally. So yes, be careful. Of course, like anywhere you visit, there are, you know, parts that are no-go. You know, a lot of people say that's northern Paris. I mean, I have been twice. The first time I was scared as hell because I took this BlaBlaCar. For people who don't know, BlaBlaCar is like a Uber but cheaper, and the car dropped me in the middle of this market, and I know where I'm going. So I just there like, all right, cool. And everybody just watching me because I dress up real nice on thing now. I just there like, okay. So yeah, you know, but the second time I went, I wasn't alone. I was real cool. So I mean, if you want to go and see what it's like, go ahead. Nobody's stopping you, but of course just be mindful. Now when you see I just laugh because when you see these stars and they have Paris with the little sparkly stars, just know them ain't taking no public transportation, they might have to be hustling to go nowhere. I mean, like tuna in a can in the metro and things like that, you know. To go from A to B, they in the little Range Rover or the limo or whatever, going from A to B. So do not be fooled and think, yes, no, don't get me wrong, guys. Paris is really nice. It's amazing. I mean, but they don't get to see the bad parts of Paris, you know. They don't get to see the true sides of Paris. So all in all, I think, you know, Paris is a beautiful city. I mean, the food is amazing, the ambience shaky, but yes, I think it's all about mental preparation. And, you know, don't show up thinking you're going to be seeing those pictures, because at the end of the day, you need to realize that all these pictures that you see are heavily edited. Now, the items in the photo exist. Yes, the Louvre exists, the Eiffel Tower exists. But when you see people post them, it may not look as pretty as with your two eyes, because, you know, the color grade and all these different things. So you also need to consider that everybody perception is different, everybody experience is different. So what might be amazing to you might be shitty to someone else. You know, a prime example would be when I visited the Eiffel Tower for the first time. And I cried. I was like, I don't know why I cried. I was like, you serious? Now that I look back, I was like, you're not serious about life. It is so pretty. But the thing is, why I cried was because I didn't know I was going to the Eiffel Tower, because my cousin was just like, let's go for a walk. And when we showed up, it was when they had the light show. Those of you who don't know the light shows, when they have the light show, I think every hour, and it was just the Eiffel Tower lights up basically. So yes. So I was like, oh wow, it's so amazing, cry, blah blah blah. Anyways, so when I took my friend to the Eiffel Tower, I think this was in 2019, and she's just like, that's it. She's like, it looked like a piece of metal. Why it have rust on it? And I was like, could you be any more underwhelming? So yeah, so I mean, everybody experiences different. I mean, now when I see the Eiffel Tower, I just be like, why does it look like an electric tower? So it doesn't really wow me as much, of course, because I live here now, but yes. So be prepared. It's all about mental preparation. When you come off that plane, train, car, whatever you come in to Paris in, be prepared to get feel that cultural shock, that it does not look like the pictures you've seen on Google, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, wherever else. Just be prepared. I mean, and the reality is, like, I saw this in the reply. Somebody was like, if you don't have money, just say that. And I mean, that's true, because to really have a good experience here and to see everything and experience everything, you know, a simple thing like a dinner on the scene, you know, it costs money, it's expensive. So to really have that full experience, you have to come prepared to spend money. You cannot want to come and be cheapskate and say and spending no money. You know, if you want to do it, you have to do it properly, holiday properly, and spending money. And that way you get the full experience. And it's not even about spending money on accommodation, like you can stay anywhere, but spending money on the experience, you know, the museums, all these different things, the Chateau de Versailles, all these different things that you can see. Is all about, you know, having the money and being able to do it. And I believe too that there's so much more, like Paris is not, it will never be, I'm sorry, but it will never be my #1 city here, because it has so many more aesthetically pleasing, so many more nicer, cleaner cities. I mean, Strasbourg, Nice. I haven't been to Nice, but yes, Nice, Annecy. I've been to Annecy. You know, the south of France. All these cities are so much nicer, and it's interesting because these are highly tourist areas. But again, I think it's not really. It's highly tourist, but it's not the population. The living population is not a lot, so that kind of makes a difference. So yes, so I think, of course, am I like rooting here? People to come and visit Paris. Who cares? Yes, so I mean, that's it. That's just, you know, giving you guys the facts and full of, you know, being in Paris. And of course, if you like this video, subscribe, like, comment, you know, tell me if you've been to Paris already. Tell me about your experience. If you've never been and you want to come, tell me. I mean, now, I mean, yes, we can't travel, but I'm sure it's on everybody's bucket list at some point. So yes, so tell me a bit more on what you think. You know, what were your perceptions before, things like that. So yes, so guys, I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.